This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Yeah, Big O, we told you we ain't playing no games, man. It's just surely probably Pablo, Culture, Lord Productions.
Good morning, South Florida.
This is the Big O Show.
You're tuned into the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yo, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio show with Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams, from the Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the Big O Show.
O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll. Locked on the morning show, Big O. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk live and direct. Because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live, it's the best of the best. He's got the fans, got the heat, he's the best of the best. Big O, the only talking sports with a style.
Break it, I'm on in. It's Big O-N. Thank you for tuning in, keeping you glued in. Stay tuned, because right here's where the woman's in. Same place, because right here some of them begin. Simply call and just state your opinion. Real talk, sport talks, the Big O Show. Yeah, you love it, yeah, you like it. Call them and let them know. Culture, Probably Pablo. You know, now introducing the man of the hour. Big O, a.k.a. Orlando also Gary.
Good morning. Yeah, ready to rock and roll on a beautiful Tuesday. Hope you all are doing well. We're flying solo today. Bill not in today. Yesterday, Bill actually had a car accident. So, yeah, when leaving here, had a car accident, unfortunately. Somebody saw us on the side of the road yesterday because they waved at me or something. I guess they recognized me or something while we were over on Southwest 8th Street. But anyway, so Bill's all right. Everything good with him. Some dude just came right out of the street into 8th Street and just rammed right into him and drove him into a van that he hit. And so obviously the guy was at fault. And so hopefully he has insurance. I think he does. And everything will be all right. Hopefully Bill will be back tomorrow or sometime during the week. We'll get him back into the mix, which is always a beautiful thing. But it'll be us for the remainder of the day. We appreciate all of you on a beautiful Tuesday joining us here on the show. No guest today. Today it's just me talking for a couple of hours here. Hopefully a couple hours. Hopefully I can make it for a couple of hours here. And we'll try to get a couple of subjects off our chest. I was able to put together, I think, enough things to talk about today on the show. As always, those of you on the YouTube chat board, you can pose any questions and comments, and we'll definitely read them so you can reach out to us. I've got the Twitter page open, So if you have any questions on Twitter, because obviously you can see us on LinkedIn, you can see us on Twitter, and you can see us also on YouTube. And remember, you can search Big O Radio Show on YouTube, subscribe, but more importantly, also hit that like button. Hitting that like button is so important. So all of you that are watching, those of you that are downloading the podcast throughout the day, the evening, the middle of the night, make sure you hit that like button on the podcast, man. It is so important to hit that like button. It is supremely important, as they say, to take care of us there. I see the YouTube chat boards already lighting up. Raging Dolphin Maniac was first in way before. I guess the way we're doing it now, you can get onto the chat board even before we start. And so it's we've moved up in the world, right? We pull up the YouTube page before. We got a little countdown and everything that goes with it. We got all the bells and whistles to dress up the picture, all that good stuff. So moving up in the world slightly there. And so we give you guys I think a slightly better platform now at this point. So Ragin was first in. Steve Chapman, looking forward, he says, to a great show. Well, now you put all the pressure on me, Steve. I don't know about a great show, but we will try our best here to make it somewhat entertaining and maybe informative in one way or another. Anthony Manzano is in. Matt Walker, NorCal, says, what's up, Finn's Laws? Wake and bake with Big O and Fatty. Puff, puff, give. There you go. John Rouse is in the house. Ricky Perez, John Santos, Romeo Garcia, Eddie Lepp, Ian from Brooklyn, Manuel Malo. This is even NorCal goes, yes, even the work account. He puts in GP Trap is in. Ray Grullon is in. And he says, hit that like button, spread the word. That's right. Joe Banos is also in. Lisa Rose is in from Rochester. She says, where it goes from 88 to 57 degrees in one day. Yeah. I'm just glad Lisa doesn't get as cold here as it does there. That's all. I'm glad. You guys can keep the cold up there if you want, Lisa. You can have it all for yourselves. Although, the humidity sometimes will be a pain in the ass, I got to admit. Let's see. Yeah, dang, wrong place at wrong time for. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you're just driving along 8th Street and some guy comes out of the street and just sideswipes you. He T-bones your ass. Yeah, that's not fun. SM Finns fans, how's it going, Big O? Steve in Pensacola checking in. Thank you, Steve, out in Pensacola, my friend. Let's see. Oh, did you see the report that X approved a trade in October? Thoughts? No, I did not see the report, but I mean, that's where we're headed. And I'll talk a little bit about X also, because that's kind of part of what I want to talk about already. Sneak Attack 305 is in. He says, smash that like button. Big Rig is in. Milton Munoz also. Thank you. Saludos, Milton. Weapons X United already chimes in with the first super chat of the day. Thank you, Weapons X United. Appreciate you, my brother. Says, good morning, Miami Nation. And you too, Big O. Thank you, sir. Jose Banos coming in, man. I love it. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it. Also coming in with a super chat. Says, many blessings, Big O. Thank you. Appreciate all of you out there. It's a blessing every day to be able to do this with all of you out there and everybody that either you join us live or you download the show at any time during the day or night. We thank you so much for that, man, for all the support that you've given us for the last couple of years on the podcast. I almost hate the fact that I got my polyp and I ended up having to, slow this thing down and not do it for several months. And I tell you, for months, I would get emails and DMs and, hey, what's up with the podcast and all that. And it's one of those things where this has become a special place, and it's pretty cool. And we just got to make it grow now. Now we've got to make it grow, and And hopefully, we others can find the same kind of happiness that we've all got here together, being able to do this together. Bromar says crypto crashing hard. Yes, buy now, bro. Buy. I just bought some VeChain. It's like at 6 cents. I mean, I was happy when I had VeChain at 7, 8, and 9 cents. And I was telling you guys, half a year ago, like 6 months ago, hey, get VeChain. And now here comes a dip, and it's even cheaper than the first time I bought it. So I bought a little more. You know what I mean? It just I'm not flinching on any of this. Okay, I'm just not. And all the FUD that's coming out of China, the miners that are going to be eliminated from there, they're going to move to other parts of the world. And a lot of them are probably going to end up coming here to America because they can get clean energy and look, man, we've got a mayor that wants miners to move to South Florida. So it'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. It's just FUD that creates all kinds of stuff. So that's fine with me. I got a little more Cardano this morning. I got a little more VeChain this morning. I got a little more Matic this morning also. So yeah, man. Listen, if you ever thought of getting into crypto, this is the time right now. Take advantage. It is so cheap right now. What's going on? That when it does bounce back, you're going to make a lot of money. If especially those of you that if you're comfortable, man, that is awesome. That's the one thing that I wish I actually had, extra income at this point in time, which I don't. That I would have been able to take advantage even more of what's going on right now in the market. So I encourage all of you out there that if you can take advantage of what's going on in the market right now, do it, man. Do it. I'm not a financial advisor, but I love it. Big Mike is in. DF is in. Oh, do you think we keep X? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't. Listen, if you're gonna ask me right now about where we stand with X-Man, I'm going to say that my prediction is X gets traded at this point in time. I don't think Miami is going to open up Pandora's box by giving him a new contract and then putting him in a position where all of a sudden, putting themselves in a position where all of a sudden they now are going to open up a big problem on their team every time somebody wants a new deal, every time somebody is unhappy. And you can't do that because once you set that precedent, you open up the door and everybody else can do it. They just gave him a contract. 2 years ago, he signed a contract. And then he went to get in trouble with a domestic violence issue and a knee injury. So he missed most of the season as it was his first year with Flores, and Flores, without his best player, still went on to got his team got better as the year went on and won 5 games without his best player. And now, I know he had a monster year last year, but I find it, I just, to me, I'm on the Dolphins side here on this one. Okay, if the Dolphins were wrong and they were mistreating the player and they weren't paying him what he deserves and this and that, listen, every contract gets outdated a year later. So just because you were the highest paid this year doesn't mean you'll be the highest paid in 6 months or in 6 weeks or in 2 years. You're going to fall behind, even if you're the best at it. Tom Brady's been the best. He has not been paid the best many times over throughout his career. And he signed his contract and he doesn't bitch about it. And then he waits till the next one is up. And then he goes about whatever he has to do. So lots of people, there's tons of players that they get the best deal possible. And they might be the best defensive, the highest paid defensive end at the moment. But 6 months later, they're the 5th best defensive. Even though they're the best, 4 other guys are paying, Kirk Cousins for a few years has made more money than some of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's not one of them. It's just the way it is. So this guy, the thing about X that I'm realizing now is there's a lot of baggage that comes with it. Yeah, he's a great player. I get it, but man, there's like 7 knee scopes already. I don't know. I'm exaggerating. What is it, 4 or 5? There's several knee scopes. You have the off the field issues, and then this past off season, he was involved in another incident where it wasn't him, but he's still involved with certain people that obviously are getting in trouble. And then now you want to hold out too. It gets to a point where you got to move on. And if the Dolphins can trade him and they find a trade, move his ass. I don't want him to go, but I don't want any of this. If it's some kind of issue every time, no, I'm good. I'll pass. We can find somebody else if I'm the front office. That's what I would say. All right, we'll find another player that we can draft and we can replace him with. That's what I would do when it's all said and done. And what did I do here? All right, let me see here. What the hell is this? Okay, I think I figured it out. All right, there we go. Anyway, so I just think that he is gone when it's all said and done. They just got to find the right trade partner now so they can get the right compensation for him. And it's got to be a team that is they feel they're a corner away or they're pretty close to a title, that they only need 1 or 2 players. And this is one of those kind of players that they need, because obviously X could help any team out as a shutdown corner. But it just gets to a point where it's baggage after baggage after baggage. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give him the contract. I don't think it ends up being a happy situation. I think he ends up getting traded when it's all said and done. So that's what I think ends up happening with X. All right, reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show. You can reach out there on the YouTube chat board, on the Super Chat. Steve Chapman says, not to be a pain in the ass, but the volume seems low again. I don't know what could tell you. Seems low again. It was louder yesterday after you adjusted it. I raised the volume a little bit more there. I don't know if that helps. Let me. After you adjusted it, I raised the volume a little bit more there. Sounds good to me on this. This is the iPad. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. This is the iPad. All right. Anyway, so I just cranked it up on the iPad and it sounds good. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Oh, Eiffel Tower's not on. There we go. Yeah, no, it's not a complete show without the Eiffel Tower being on. Gotta connect the Eiffel Tower. For those of you that don't know the story behind it, that Eiffel Tower I bought when I took my wife to Paris a couple of years back. We went for our 25th wedding anniversary, and so I wanted to bring back some kind of a memory, and I saw these Eiffel Towers. They sell obviously all kinds. Our hotel was literally a half a block from the Eiffel. Like, the Eiffel Tower is right outside our window. It's actually pretty cool. Let me see if I can actually find a picture of us in the hotel room and right next to the damn Eiffel Tower. But anyway, so they sell a ton of Eiffel Towers, and so I figured, you know what, I gotta take one with me and take it as a memory, and I can put it in my studio and use it in my studio all the time, and that would be really, really cool. So there you go. There's our hotel room and the Eiffel Tower. There we go. I don't know. There you go. So literally, our hotel room was right outside the Eiffel Tower. It's a hell of a view, by the way. Hell of a view. Hell of a trip too. And it became not only was it memorable because obviously, 25 years, but we took several tours of all kinds of things. And one of the things that we went to was Notre Dame, and this was before it burned down. So we were blessed to be able to see Notre Dame before, unfortunately, it burned down, man. So yeah, but that's why the Eiffel Tower is here. It is part of our memories from our 25th wedding anniversary. So just in case, for those of you, I know some of you that have been following the podcast and followed the YouTube show and all that good stuff. Some of you know the history behind the Eiffel Tower, but maybe some of you are tuning in and are new and don't know why the hell I have an Eiffel Tower when everything is sports related back there, pretty much. Uh, except Bob. What is it, Bob the Painter? Right? But that's the only thing that's not sports related. Outside of that, everything else is, well, Star Wars too, right? It's not just, and Spider-Man, right? Because I am a Spidey fan, so that's my favorite superhero is Spidey. I got a rat in there. Well, that's sports related because the rat goes with the Panthers. Yeah, everything is sports related except for the Eiffel Tower, the Star Wars stuff, and a little Spidey. Outside of that, everything else. So there's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Why the Eiffel Tower is there? All right. So there you go. Rushes and that's right, that's right, that's right. Dougie Fresh gave us the lunchbox. There you go. I still have some stuff that I have not been able to post that some of you have given me. Even my daughter gave me something that I wanted to add to all of this. But it's just it's hard to find the space, you know what I'm saying? So it's a challenge. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. GP Trap says need a Batman bobblehead or something. All right. All right, well, that's your job, GP Trap. You got to get me something Batman related that would go with something back here. Since you're Mr. Batman, you can find a small gift somewhere that I can fit in there in your honor. Okay. Orlando, do you think a 1 and a 3 or a 1 and a 2 will be a deal for X? That's a great question, Ray. I mean, I could guess because remember they have to give him money too. So and he's had several knee injuries also. So I don't know where that knee is and what kind of a gamble it is. So I would imagine that a first and a second would be about right for him. I mean, really, if he's healthy, it should be 2 first rounders, but he's not really healthy. He's had several knee scopes and he's had the off the field issue too. So maybe a first and a second, that would be one hell of a deal for the Dolphins if they're able to get that, because that means you get back your second that you initially invested in X, and then you get the bonus of a first rounder. It's going to be hard, man, because you've got to pay him also. So that's because you're acquiring a disgruntled player that wants more money. That's the problem there. And if you're the Dolphins, you're already, into this contract to have to extend it and make more commitments. You're running more risk also on top of all of that. Look, if X was, Troy Vincent, if X was Terrell Buckley, if X, and I'm not comparing talents. I'm talking about character. If X was Pat Surtain and Sam Madison, but he's not. And so that's a problem. If you're Jason Taylor or Zach Thomas or Tim Bowens, you don't give a crap about giving somebody extra money like that because they've been soldiers for you, and when they leave the building, you never have to worry. And unfortunately, you can't say the same thing for X. So that's where it just becomes a different challenge in trading X compared to other players. And then a lot of those players never had as many scopes as he's had. And with those scopes, something's disappearing, bro. They're taking out cartilage. They're taking something out. And that's not good for you when it's all said and done. Every time they go in there to clean up and there's debris in there and they're taking out cartilage to make your knee feel better and those kind of things, then that tells me that there's a problem, There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Dolphin since 1987 says, Big O, our wide receivers unit is very deep this year. Who makes the cut? And what happens to Malcolm Perry? I like his potential. It's a great question that you bring up. And when you look at who's going to make the team, let's go over a little bit the wide receiving core for Miami. I'll answer your question on who makes it and who doesn't, okay? First of all, Will Fuller is in and Jalen Waddle is in. All right, we're done right there, right? Those are in. Then you've got Devontae Parker. You've got Preston Williams. I think those four are locked in, and I think you go Jakeem Grant because he's one of the best returners in the NFL. I don't think that you're going to let go one of the three best returners in the NFL the last 5 years. That doesn't make any sense. So those five are in. Now, the real question is, do you go 6 or 7 deep? They're going to go 5 for sure. I think they'll go at least 6, possibly 7. So now you start looking at the rest, and I'm looking at the list now. You've got to decide between Malcolm Perry, Lynn Bowden Jr., Robert Foster, Alan Hearns, Kirk Merritt, and Wilson, right? Okay, first of all, I think Alan Hearns is done. I think Albert Wilson is done. I don't think either guy makes this team unless there's a slew of injuries. I think you go developmental and multiple. And because neither guy is going to contribute on special teams, you're done. But Lynn Bowden Jr., I think, is a guy that can definitely help you out. And I think Malcolm Perry would be the odd man. He'll either be the 7th guy or he's outside looking in. That's probably the guys that are going to end up making it when it's all said and done. I'll go Lynn Bowden Jr. as your 6th guy. And then if they keep 7, it'll be Malcolm Perry. Why? Because these guys can help out not just only as a receiver, they can do other things. And so that's why I think they've got a shot at sticking onto this roster. I don't think Albert Wilson makes it. I don't think Kirk Merritt makes it. Kirk Merritt could be on the practice squad. That's what could happen with Kirk Merritt. He looks like he's practice squad material. But Hearns and Albert Wilson, I think, are out, and so is Robert Foster. I think those guys don't end up making it. All right? So there you go. Those are my 6 or 7 receivers, depending on how far they go. Dolphins since 1987. That is my answer, my friend. NorCal says X Factor has talent that's proven, but he has proven he's not able to stay healthy, and he's unwilling to work with the front office. That's it. That's where it becomes, an issue. Brooklyn Rob says, I'm a big Perry fan, could keep him as the 4th running back. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that when you look at Malcolm Perry and Lynn Bowden Jr., they can help you in different areas. They're not just one-dimensional players. So that's why. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I did get a little more Stellar. Wasn't it like, I think 25 cents this morning? Since I saw Brooklyn Rob, it reminded me Stellar was at like 25 cents. It's at 23 cents now. In fact, you know what? I'm going to buy a little Stellar right now. I'm serious. It's at 23 cents, man. Okay. All right. Anyway, so 23 cents Stellar. That is just nuts. Oh, the deals keep on coming in. Anyway, so yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I just think that those guys will end up there when it's all said and done. Let's see, what else do we have here on the chat board. JDM Wizard says Jakeem is gone. We have a couple of other people that can do the job. Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's going to return kicks? That's top 3 in the NFL. I must have missed it. Who is it? Jaelan? So you're going to have a guy coming off a foot injury, play a ton of wide receiver, and be the full-time returner? No. Some of you out there, I think you're a little unrealistic on all of this. And I think a lot of you out there, you don't really appreciate Jakeem Grant as a returner. You keep confusing the receiver with the returner. His bobbles and his fumbles have nothing to do with returning. It's all when he's playing receiver. As a returner, he is deadly. And so you need him back there. What's going to happen is what I keep telling a lot of you out there. He will be a better player this year because he plays less receiver and he'll be a full-time returner. And he'll be maybe more of a decoy as a receiver with that speed. Will you throw it to him occasionally? Yeah, occasionally. But I don't think you're going to do it a ton because you don't have to, because the receiving core is much deeper this year. That's been the real problem with Jakeem. They've used him at receiver too much, and that's worn him down because he's not a big guy. I think some of you out there don't really appreciate what Jakeem Grant brings to the table. Ohio John is in the house. Grant could be a stunt double for Kevin Hart. Not bad. I like that. I think Jakeem will be cut, Miami Kid J says. Victor Moya says, Big O, it's Victor. I met you at the Sports Grill on Bird Road a while back. Went up to you with my brother and asked you where you were now because I used to listen to you somewhere else. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Victor, for keeping it locked here, man, and supporting us. Spread the word. Hit that like button. Very important, everybody. Smash the hell out of that like button. We've already hit 200, right? Let's go to 300, man. Let's do it. Let's spread the word. What if DVP is traded? The Dolphins still haven't paid 3 of their rookies. It looks like a trade is on the way. What if you mean Devontae Parker traded? I don't understand. The Dolphins still haven't paid 3 of their rookies. Yeah, but they've got the money to pay the rookies. They'll be fine. Not worried about that, man. Let's see. Brooklyn Rob says, way ahead of you. Picked up another 1,000 worth. Nice job by you, man. It is that the deals right now are awesome. Let's see. What else? How do you feel Wilkins has done in his first 2 seasons, and what do you want to see in year 3? I love what Wilkins has done. I think he's grown as a player. Listen, we've talked about this before. It took Paul Soliai to year 4 to become a good player. Okay? This guy's already become a good player. He's done a really good job. Is he the guy with the Rams? No, nobody is. But he's a damn good player. He's done a good job, and I think I would like to see him have Pro Bowl consideration, maybe make the Pro Bowl. That's what I would like to see out of him this year. Take another step forward to being a hell of a player. Okay? They put Noah back, and they also tried Limbot, and he's a top returner, but they've given up 1,000 receiving yards in like 5 years. Yeah, I'm telling you, you don't want to put somebody full-time to play returner. You don't want your full-time corner to also be your returner. You don't want your full-time receiver to also be your returner. That's a little desperation at this point in time. And none of those guys are Jakeem Grant. JDM, you can assume, you can think, you can imagine, but the facts are there's only one guy that's a top 3 returner in the NFL on the Dolphins roster, and his name is Jakeem Grant. It's pretty simple. Nobody else has a track record of being a great returner. Only one guy on the Dolphins has the track record of a great returner, and that's Jakeem Grant. Those are the facts. I mean, there's no other way around it. Mike says Javon Holland has return skills too. I'm not sure anyone goes out of their way to retain an elite returner. If that's really, are you sure about that? You sure? Because Mel Gray was a returner, and Brian Dawkins was a returner. I mean, there's lots of, or no, Mitchell it was. Brian Mitchell was a returner, basically a returner. Lots of people have been returners over the years, and you keep returners. I'm not sure what football you're watching, but they're over the years, for decades now, teams, if they have a special returner, they keep that returner. They might use him in other places, but he doesn't really excel in those other places. He's kind of complimentary. Devin Hester never became a great receiver. They used him, but he's the greatest returner in the history of the game. I'm not sure what football you're watching. But when you have a great returner, you make a spot for him on your roster because that's called field position, my man. Okay? That's how the game is played. So if you have somebody that can guarantee you pretty much better field position on a consistent basis, you keep that person. And they're all not great players in any other position. They might be serviceable, but they're not anything impactful. They're just serviceable at best. If not, they're mediocre like Devin Hester was. Devin Hester was a mediocre receiver. Never became anything as a receiver. And they kept him around. Dante Hall was never this incredible receiver, but man, he was an incredible returner. Mel Gray, incredible returner. Over the years, that's how it's always been. If you have an incredible returner, you keep the returner because the returner makes all the difference in the world. Hester was a much better football player than Jakeem Grant. Mike, Hester sucked at wide receiver. I'm not sure what you watched, dude. He sucked as a wide receiver. There's no much better. What, were they both valedictorians of summer school or something, as the Mad Dog would say? To brag about Jakeem Grant or Devin Hester as at wide receiver, or even to have an argument or discussion about it, is pretty freaking stupid. They both suck at wide receiver, Mike. I'm not sure what you're watching, okay? But Devin Hester sucked as a wide receiver. Can I say it again? Devin Hester sucked as a wide receiver. Seriously. Like to watch two people argue and discuss about Devin Hester or Jakeem Grant as wide receivers, it's like, give me a break, dude. Come on. Jakeem Grant might even be a better receiver than Hester, LOL. I don't know, man. It doesn't matter to me. Neither one of them. They're both great returners. That's what it's all about. If you have a great returner, you damn right you make a spot for him on your team. Because they just don't. And especially the way the rules are now, which makes it even harder for a returner, and yet he's still productive as a returner? Hell no. Yeah, even the Patriots keep Matthew Slater because he's a great gunner on special teams. Yeah, and that's all he does. But if you have a great gunner, you keep him because he's the guy that makes an enormous difference on field position again, because he helps stop the other team from getting good field position. Miami Kid Jay says, I don't even mind Jakeem as a full-time returner, but limited time as a receiver. Yeah, that's my point. I don't need him as a wide receiver. I want him as a returner on this team. Until you could get somebody that's a two-way player that could actually be as effective as this guy, then yeah, well, then we're good. But at the moment, nobody on the team, not even Jalen Waddle, because he's unproven. Nobody on the team is even close to Jakeem Grant. Not even, I mean, there's only a couple guys in the NFL that are at Jakeem Grant's level as a returner. Seriously, there's only a couple guys. Outside of that, he's top 3, top 4 in the NFL as a returner. You just don't release people like that. It doesn't make any sense, at least to me. The coaching has to improve this season as well. Oh, why? Because 10 games weren't enough for you? Because 5 games weren't enough the year before with no talent? Steve, what are you watching, dude? Some of the best coaching in the NFL has been happening here. They won 10 games with a journeyman at quarterback and a rookie at quarterback and 3 rookies on the offensive line and no great running game and no great wide receivers. I'm sorry, I must have missed it. Who else is winning 10 games under those conditions? The coaching. Are you out of your mind, dude? This is some of the best coaching that's been going on in the NFL the last 2 years. This guy's been a beast, Brian Flores. You want better coaching? Dude, we've had Adam Gase here. What the hell are you talking about? Joe Philbin. Are you serious? Tony Field Goal Sperano. Cam Cameron. You want better coaching? Some of you out there are, hey, Steve, are you even a real Dolphins fan? I'm sorry, I must have missed it here. This is the best coach since Shula. Better coaching. Who the hell else wins 15 games the last 2 years with the talent that they've had? Better coaching? Steve, put down the joint, put down the drink, put down the acid, put down the crack pipe. Whatever it is you're doing, bro, it's doing permanent damage to your brain. Okay? So stop it already. Wow. In regard to preparing Tua, there was no offseason, Steve. No offseason. How are you preparing a rookie with no offseason? With a pandemic, with no mini camps, no training camp, no preseason. All right, Steve, I got you, bro. I got you. It's football 101 on your side. Sorry, man. Appreciate you watching, but I think you're better off watching and learning a lot more before hablando. You're not getting a 5th for Grant. Teams know we are stacked at wide receiver. They'll just wait till we cut down and hope we release Grant and give up a 5th. Yeah, I don't think they're going to release him anyways. You guys make it sound like there's a like this. They've got 6 receivers that are so dominant that you've got to let go of one of the 3 or 4 best returners in the NFL. I don't know how that makes any sense. I really don't. Okay. You know, some of you out there are hanging out with Steve smoking a little too much. And you're probably smoking like Clorox and grass that you cut from outside the lawn. Because not even weed makes it that crazy. Martin Leiden says, this is the best position we've been in years. See you in London, pal. Damn right, Martin. Martin's out in London watching us now. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate you. This is right now, if you're a Dolphins fan, right now, you got to be loving life like you haven't loved it in forever. This is the best coach since Shula. This is the best front office since mid-Shula days. Okay, not towards the end that when, things went a little awry with Shula there at that point in time. What we just saw the last 2 years is some of the best coaching I've seen since I got to go back to the Shula days. I'm not sure how some of you Dolphins feel, but I think some of you, because by the comments there, by what Martin was saying, I think a lot of you, like Martin, feel like I do. This is a chance for stability, finally. Instead of constantly having to change coaches because you hire another sorry-ass coach after another GM that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They're too young. We get them here at a point where they weren't mature. They weren't ready to go. because obviously Rick Spielman's done a much better job in Minnesota than he did here, but he had to deal with the politics and was fighting, Wanstead for power, and he was young. He was learning. Even Jeff Ireland has done a really good job helping out New Orleans, and he made a ton of mistakes here. Meanwhile, Chris Greer was there behind the scenes watching everybody make mistakes, and so he was practically groomed for this position already. Over-groomed. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'll make it a word. He was over-groomed, over-prepared for this position, and finally got it, and has just absolutely kicked ass in preparing the present and preparing for the future. This guy constantly is loading up the draft the last couple of years and maintaining and creating more picks for down the line. I haven't seen front office work like this ever. Ever. Not even Shula was doing these kind of things. I'm not sure how some of you Dolphins feel out there, but I feel absolutely phenomenal about what's going on with the Dolphins. Again, like when this guy says, "Oh, better coaching," it's like, are you kidding me, dude? It's the best coaching we've seen here forever. Everything about what's going on right now is absolutely phenomenal. Miami is headed in the right direction. They've got the right people in place. They're creating a culture, finally, instead of it being a clown show, because that's always what the Dolphins were for 20 years, a freaking clown show. And I should know because I've been covering it and ripping it and pointing at what kind of a clown show it's been every year. But finally, they are doing everything that's polar opposite of all the crap that we've seen for 20 years. And they will prepare Tua now. They've done everything from getting Charlie Fry to designing the offense for them to finding weapons that fit what he wants to do, what he needs to do, what he excels at. I mean, you wanted speed? They got Will Fuller and Jalen Waddle, dude. They added another tight end to make it a 2 tight end attack. They found a couple of veteran offensive linemen to add to the mix. I mean, I'm not sure what any Dolphin at this point either questions, is disappointed about, is not satisfied. I can't help you at this point anymore. You've already been through the Wansteads and the Joe Philbins and the Speranos and the Cam Camerons and the Adam Gases of the world. If you don't know what it looks like to suck, if you don't know by now what it feels like to have incompetence on the sidelines, in the front office, and by now, if you cannot see the night and day difference of what's going on now to what's been here for 20 years, I can't help you anymore, man. I can't help you anymore. I really can't. I can't walk you off this ledge anymore. There's almost nothing else I can say outside of just, I guess they got to go out and now get to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl eventually, so people will then believe it. Because for the last 2 years on this show, what have I told a lot of Dolphins fans, right? Forget the past, man. I get it. You always were worried about the other shoe falling. I get it. You were always worried about the coach. Listen, I told you guys the other day this. When was the last time that we saw a coach get better from the first year to the second year? I don't even think we have consecutive years where we felt good about a coach. It's always, we got on a high from 1 year and then back down again, and then back up again and then back down again. It's always been like that. Every single time. And this is this way. It's trended that way from the moment they took over to where they're at right now. It's just been like this. And all I've seen when, the listener says, Oh, well, in regards to preparing Tua, all I ever see are players are prepared. I am not the guy that overreacted on Tua's comments the other day about, that I didn't know the playbook. Of course you didn't know the playbook, kid. You were the backup. You had no offseason. You were worried more about rehabbing your hip until you got to August than you were about the damn playbook. How the hell would you know the playbook? You weren't the number one guy. You weren't getting all the reps. You're the scout team quarterback at best. Why would you know the playbook? Plus, you're a rookie. Most rookies are lost. So it's all right. I'm not worried about it. I'm not overreacting. Now, this year, offense is geared to you. It's tailored. They pick the players you need. They got the coaches around to coach what you need to get done. Are there any excuses this year? No. You're healthy. You've had a full offseason. You should be fine. This year, I'm expecting Tua to take the next step. But am I going to be surprised that he had his bumps and bruises in year one as a rookie with no offseason and a pandemic? No, I'm not. Some of us make it sound like rookies have never struggled in the history of the NFL, when plenty have had full off seasons. They've been the number one guy. The offense has been tailored to them and all that, and they still fail, and they still have terrible years. This kid had a good year. In the worst situations and combinations that you can possibly have, he had a good year. Did he have a great year? Did he have a year like the kid in the Chargers? I was going to say San Diego. But Herbert, no, he didn't. Herbert outplayed him. No doubt about it. Much better situation for him. He was healthy. He had better weapons. God bless him. I expect Tua now to respond this year and have a hell of a year on his own and win meaningful games, which, by the way, Herbert didn't win any meaningful games last year. So, to me, at this point, if you don't feel great about what the Dolphins are doing, I can't help you, man. I really can't. I can't do anything about it. All right, you can reach out to us on Twitter, by the way, at Big O Show. You can catch us here on the YouTube channel, on the Super Chat. Another way to reach out to us, as always. Appreciate it. Let's see. What else do we have here on the show? Tim says, whoever hasn't seen the interview with Nick Hicks, Tua's trainer, go listen to him talk about the fact Tua was only 60% last season and he was still doing work. Of course, there was no way he was going to be 100. He had surgery in November. Any of these kind of surgeries, you're a year or two from when you're going to be yourself again. Now's when he starts to be himself again. Now's when he should be more explosive. You're going to see a faster Tua, a more athletic Tua. You're going to see a stronger armed Tua. You're going to probably sense a little bit more confidence too, because he's more confident in his body. Big O, what's the status of Vince Beagle? Does he make the team? I don't know. We got to see him in training camp. Remember, he's coming off the knee injury. So until we get to training camp and he's playing the preseason games, then we'll get a feel for where Vince Beagle is. But until they're hitting, my man, it's really hard to get a feel. Miami Kid says, I'm happy with the Dolphin offseason because they addressed the main weaknesses in the roster, which was explosiveness in the receiver room. Tua should have no excuses. Greer has done a great job. Agree with all of that. Ray says, one of your key words the last 2 years is trust the process with our team. Yeah, because I just feel like you actually have real football people now. Ragin says, Shula used to win games when he didn't have the better team. Flo does that. He wins when he shouldn't. Exactly. I'm with you there. What else do we have here? I am not investing in crypto. I'm putting my money on Fins plus 9.5. I love it. GP Trap says, yes, I love Coach Flo. I don't question anything he does. You're right, Big O. I'm excited for this year. I mean, that's the other thing. I would imagine most Dolphin fans right now, how are you not excited about the Dolphin season, right? I mean, I haven't been this excited for a Dolphin season since Ricky. And even with Ricky, I knew with Ricky that it was going to be an exciting season. It was going to be fun, but I never really looked at it like you were working for a Super Bowl or anything like that. I never thought that team was a Super Bowl team because you didn't really have a Super Bowl quarterback at that time. Serviceable, but not Super Bowl. And so, to me, that's what I'm excited about here, that I think you're building a Super Bowl team. And I think you're going to be knocking on that door next year or the year after. You're going to be knocking on the door for a Super Bowl team. That's the difference for me. That's why I feel excited about what's going to happen this year and setting the stage for even bigger and better things down the line. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here on the program? By the way, NBA-wise, Clippers and Suns tonight at 9 o'clock. Looking forward to that. I know Lisa, who's on the board right now. She's in Rochester. She's a big Phoenix fan. I think a lot of us are Suns fans, right? I think a lot of people are pulling, because it's kind of the American way that we pull for the underdog, even though really we start to look at this Suns team and they should start being viewed as the favorites because they're damn good, dude. And that's without CP3, which shows me how those young guys have really grown without CP3's leadership. But I think a lot of us are rooting for the Suns. I know I am. So Suns tonight. Let's see if they can make it 2-0. What else do we have? Blue Jays and Marlins in action tonight. Sandy Alcantara on the mound taking on Ross Stripling. 7:10 first pitch for that. Tampa Bay beat the Islanders last night badly, 8-0. The Lightning lead 3-2. Game 6 will be tomorrow on NBC Sports Network. On the west side, the Canadians are taking on the Golden Knights. So no Gallant, and the Knights are still winning, huh? Anyway, that'll be Game 5 tonight. That series is tied up at 2. So those are some of the things that we can watch on television tonight. I'm really looking forward to that. So I could watch a little hockey and a little basketball. Although I will admit, I am going to be watching more and paying attention more to the Suns and the Clippers than I am to the hockey, even though the hockey playoffs are so awesome. But I'm so intrigued by the Suns, so I'll probably have the volume down on the hockey game, which I know I'm going to be kind of cheating myself because the hockey game is going to be pretty freaking awesome tonight with the Canadians and the Golden Knights. So we'll see. Anyway, so that's some of the stuff that we can actually watch on television. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a quick break here as we wrap up the first hour. When we come back on the other side, I want to talk about something on the Dolphins side, too, that I want to get off my chest. I got a bunch of other things I want to talk about. Bam going to the Olympics. I got something to say about that. Carl Nassib comes out as the first active gay player in the NFL. I definitely want to touch base on that because there's a lot of layers to that one also. Got some other stuff that is pretty historic that's going on in sports, and we're not really talking enough about it, actually. And so I want to talk a little bit about it because it deserves to get its props. And it's and for me personally, and I got a little side story that goes with one of them. So I find myself pulling for this person too, on top of all of that. So we got a bunch of things to talk about on the show for hour number 2. Give me a couple of minutes here to reset, and we'll come back for hour number 2 of the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. O Show.
All righty. It's hour number 2, and I love it. Hour number 2, we start off with a beautiful super chat from O'Shea Morris. O'Shea, thank you, sir, as always. You've always been a hardcore supporter of our show for many years, and I appreciate you. Thank you, sir, giving us a little love on the super chat. This is, at this point in time, it's a community-driven show, so thank you very, very much, O'Shea. Appreciate you giving us a little love on the super chat, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see. What else do we have that I want to talk about? I was telling you a little bit about, we have history going on right now. And I don't think people really realize it, and maybe, maybe it's kind of cool because if this was going on 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people might be insulted. They might be making fun of it. They may not take it serious, those kind of things. But the Blazers' job in the NBA is open. And Becky Hammon is one of the finalists for the job. Spurs assistant, former USA, gold medalist, hell of a basketball player in her own right. But she's been an assistant coach now for a while under Popovich. I believe it's about 7 years. She even took over last year for a game where Popovich, got thrown out. And so Sham Charania and Sam Amick are, talking about the story and how the candidates for the job are Chauncey Billups, who's a Clippers assistant, Don Staley, who's a South Carolina head coach, obviously, Nets assistant Mike D'Antoni, and Spurs Vice President of Basketball Operations Brent Barry. So multiple members. And the cool thing is you have 2 women that are finalists. And this is something people would have made fun of 10 years ago. 20 years ago, they would have thought it was insulting that their team is even considering a woman to coach a man's sport. 30 years ago, you would have never even heard of anything like this. I mean, God forbid they would even interview a woman, just interview a woman for the job. You would be ridiculed and made fun of, and people would be making fun of it. But it shows you that at least in society, we are making the advances to the point that we take it seriously now. We're not making fun of it. And we're respecting women a lot more than we have in the past. Whereas there was no way you would respect a woman or hire her to do anything with men, where that's now changing. And eventually it's going to happen. I don't know about football. That would take a miracle because there isn't a feeder system that you can measure a woman by. You know what I mean? So it's going to be until the woman starts having success at the high school level and then at the college level, and then we can get to that point. But until we have that, we're not going to get to football. But in basketball, you can be coaching the WNBA, you can be coaching college women's basketball, and you can build your resume that way. You can be a great player on the Olympic team, like Don Staley was, you know what I mean? Like Becky Hammon was. They were great players on their national teams. And so now we're talking about them transitioning to being coaches, to being assistant coaches. And then obviously with Becky's case, she's been able to transition to the men's game and be an assistant coach. So you could kind of set the table for yourself there and eventually get that opportunity. Football is a lot harder. And until we get women hired at the high school level and the college level, and they start to become successful in their own right at those levels, then I can see it transitioning to the NFL. But we are decades away from something like that happening. But in the NBA, which is always the most progressive league that we have in this country, in the NBA, we're on the brink of it. And I don't know if Portland's going to do it or not, okay? Privately, I will say I'm rooting for Becky Hammon. I got to admit, major crush on her when she was a player on the national team. So she was a hottie back in those days. So I've always been a Becky Hammon fan, and obviously I have grown to respect her as a professional, as a coach, those kind of things. Instead of just seeing her as the cute basketball player that was on the national team. And obviously that's how my thinking has evolved from a few decades back, from when she's as a player to the point now that she's obviously a respected assistant coach and a finalist for an NBA job. And I don't think we talk enough about things like that, where you get to see a woman end up coaching in the NBA. I think that is going to be a great moment for sports in our country. And obviously, whatever woman does get that opportunity, whether it's Becky or Don Staley or anybody else, I hope that they have success too, because that's the way it doesn't slow down the progress. You know what I'm saying? Because when you give something new to somebody or a group of individuals and they don't have success with it, then you say, well, it's kind of a failed experiment. Do I take a chance again at this failed experiment? That kind of stuff. But the first woman that gets the opportunity, if she does succeed, then it becomes copycat. And then, okay, hey, well, we've got to find the right woman to lead our club, or the right person, but it could be a woman at least, where maybe they wouldn't give a woman a chance. Now they're willing to do it. And that's the other thing. Props to the Portland Trailblazers that they are open enough to have two women as finalists for their coaching job. I think that's pretty damn cool. All right, you can reach out to us, remember, on the YouTube chat board. You can do a little super chat like my man O'Shea Morris just did. Appreciate it, O'Shea. Thank you for the super chat. And, of course, if you're on Twitter, that's the other way you can reach out to us. If you have any questions, we will answer them also on Twitter. Let me see, what else do we have? Whoopi Goldberg was the first woman to coach an NBA team on that movie. Oh, how do you think Dame will handle getting chewed out by Becky Hammon if she gets the coaching job in Portland. I think Becky would be smart enough not to chew out, Dame Lillard. And I don't think you have to chew out Dame Lillard. The guy you chew out is Whiteside if he was on your team. He's no longer there, but that's the guy you chew out is Whiteside. I think she's smart enough. She's been around Popovich. So I don't think she'll be out of line with the wrong people, put it that way. I think she'll understand that stars get star treatment. And so a guy like Lillard is not a guy you really have to worry about or you have to corral or you have to try to straighten out. He's a character kid, so you don't have to worry about that. So I don't think that'll be the issue, okay? I think she's pretty smart when it's all said and done. Let's see. Manzano says, hi-o. Hi, Anthony. Joe Romano says, Wander Franco debuts tonight for the Rays. Really? The shortstop got the call-up? Well, all right. I have him as a keeper on my baseball team. It's interesting you mentioned that, Joe Romano. I had to let go of Miguel Rojas, actually, recently, because I am so loaded at shortstop. I have Story, and I have damn, I'm brain farting now. I have Bichette. So I have two excellent shortstops, and I've been waiting for Wander Franco, which I knew he was going to get the call sometime in the next month here, and he finally got the call, and I knew I was going to have to let go of Rojas anyways because he was like the third best shortstop. So now I've got three shortstops again on the team, which just becomes a pain in the ass because I can't release, Trevor Story or Bo Bichette. There's no way I can do that because they're both incredibly productive. You know what I mean? Although Story hasn't blown up yet, but he's still on his way. And that'll be interesting to see Wander Franco get the opportunity. All right, cool. All right. So Wander debuts tonight. I wonder if I should no, I'm not going to start him. I'll wait. I'll wait to see the youngin do his thing. Big O from Giancarlo Vialata. I think it is Vialta. Big O, did you see Jaelan Phillips' IG story showing off his Dolphins helmet? And they have two other colors as alternate helmets. The black one looks slick. I have not seen it. So I don't know anything about it, my brother. I would have to look it up and see the video that you're talking about. I can that I can do and check out the video myself. Let's see where we at here with Jaelan Phillips. I wonder if I'm spelling it wrong. Here, I think I am. All right, I'll check it out now. I don't want to do this now while I'm on the air, but I will check out the Jaelan Phillips video. What's his handle on Twitter? Is it just Jaelan Phillips, or is it something else? Because it didn't come up as Jaelan Phillips unless I spelled it wrong. Big O, what's the deal with Preston Williams? Is he a full go? Again, we'll find out in training camp where he's at and how recovered he is from the injury. I thought last year they kind of forced the issue and they got him too early. They brought him back too early, I thought. And that really set him back. And the poor kid just never, I don't think we ever saw him 100%. And that's a shame because they needed him so badly with the guys opting out and the injuries. And then that put just some real pressure on him overall, which sucks. But we'll see. We'll see. I definitely like him, man. Definitely like him. But he's got to catch the ball consistently, and he's got to now avoid the injuries. Those are things that, is going to be an issue for him. Thank you for sending me that, Giancarlo. So it's J. Phillips 15. I got you now. Okay. I will check it out. Wait a minute. You got, it's J.J. Phillips. Aha. Okay. I got you now. There we go. Okay. I will check it out there. I am looking at it, but I don't see anything on a black helmet here. I am on his page, but I don't see the black helmet deal here. So I don't know which one it is when it's all said and done, but I'll look it up later on and I'll figure it out, my man. I appreciate you. Let's see. What else do we have here on the chat board? Big O, I'm excited. Even if Tua sucks, we can always find a veteran QB to fill the void if we have to. I trust Flo and Greer. That's what Joe Hamilton says. I got you, but Tua's not going to suck. Tua will be fine. I'm not worried about Tua. I'm really not. Dougie Fresh says, Steve forgot to add that Jimi Hendrix was not much of a guitar player. I mean, who can play guitar when it's on fire and a naked woman is in your way? That's true. That's true. That is very true. Dougie Fresh chimes in also with a little super chat. Thank you, Dougie Fresh. I appreciate you, my brother, for the super chat. Oh, what's worse? Steve's take on Coach Flo, the TV show White Shadow as an honest portrayal of basketball, T-Rex as a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member. Wow, the T-Rex one is bad. I love the White Shadow. So the White Shadow, I'm going to go with the T-Rex being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That is the worst. And then Steve's take on Flo was also just absolutely terrible. I got to go. I love the White Shadow. So I was a staunch supporter of the White Shadow. I love that show. It's a fantastic show. I could never pick on the White Shadow. Even if it's not realistic, I still cannot pick on the White Shadow. I love that show. It was awesome. Oh, man. All right. So, I wanted to talk about something. This is a little bit off the beaten path. And some of you that don't live in South Florida might struggle a little bit with this story. Some of you that don't live in South Florida and you're watching the show, you might have lived here 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, and you had to move out. And that's why you still follow your Miami teams, because you're a Miami person. You're just living, somewhere else. And that happens to a lot of us. In the New Times, they've got 5 Miami burger chains that made history. Now, this is over a long period of time. So there's a lot of these that most of you won't know. Okay? But that's why this article is a little bit, it's not of the last 20 years, the last 10 years. It's Miami's history. So these are some that you probably didn't even know existed. But there's one that just brought back great memories. And I got to give the New Times for including it in there, because back in the day, and I'm talking the 70s and very, very early 80s, this was one of the most important burger places in South Florida, okay? And I can vouch for that because I experienced it, back in those days. So they were talking about the 5, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. First, they start off with Burger King. Burger King, by the way, first started off in Jacksonville, not here in Miami. Then it opened up in Jacksonville under a slightly different name in 1953. Keith G. Kramer and Matthew L. Burns opened the first Insta Burger King in Jacksonville. Not Instagram. It's just called Insta-Burger King. And then they would open one in Miami later on. And so Burger King is one. Joe Namath's Broadway Joe's. One of the biggest names in football in the 60s and 70s was Joe Namath, a.k.a. Broadway Joe. Blessed with movie star looks and a flamboyant personality to match, Namath is best known for leading the New York Jets to victory over the Colts in the '69 Super Bowl. That same year, Namath opened a Broadway Joe's in Coral Gables. Broadway Joe's featured a burger called a Football Hero, along with a touchdown, which was a roast beef sandwich. Milkshakes cost 35 cents, and coffee was 15 cents. Employees at the football-themed restaurant wore football jerseys emblazoned with Namath number 12. Okay? Muhammad Ali's Champ Burger. It's pretty cool that back in the day, Namath and now Muhammad Ali opened up burger places here. Anyway, in 68, Ali licensed his name and likeness for a black-owned and operated burger chain called Champ Burger. It's the first location, opened at 3268 Grand Avenue in Coconut Grove. Ali's contract specified that all the food served would contain no pork or shellfish, in keeping with his Muslim beliefs. In addition to burgers, Champ Burger also offered all beef hot dogs, fried chicken, and its own Mr. Champ soda. Later that year, a second location opened at 6155 Northwest 17th Avenue. Unfortunately, the end was near. Issues with investors and a court case with stockholders derailed the restaurant financially, and it never recovered. Rudy's Sirloin Burgers of the 1980s saw the burger wars with McDonald's and its closest two competitors, Burger King and Wendy's, which were battling it out for second place. While that was going on, a better burger movement with a fast casual restaurant atmosphere was gaining momentum out of Texas. Houston's Fuddruckers was slowly spreading across the U.S., and although there were very few Fuddruckers in Miami, we had our own superior version in Rudy's Sirloin Steak Burgers. The founder of Rudy's was Douglas Rudolph Douglas, was already involved in the Miami burger scene in 77 when he brought Wendy's to Miami. But Rudy's burgers were different from Wendy's. They were made from freshly ground sirloin, charbroiled. Each restaurant also offered a toppings bar. Rudy's Sirloin Burgers was sold to Miami real estate developer and some European investor. They planned expansion in 91. It never materialized, and Rudy's disappeared. Douglas Rudolph, by the way, stayed in the burger game. He and his son Alex are currently part of Tap 42 restaurant chain. By the way, Tap 42 is a really cool place. They do a good job. The other one, which is the one that I'm so glad they put in, and it warmed my heart up, Woves. Burger chains in the 70s were switching from fresh beef to frozen. McDonald's franchise had the idea to bring back fresh meat. Jack Penrod of Penrod's and later Nikki's Beach fame opened up Woves, which operated from 75 to 81. After selling his 16 restaurants back to McDonald's in 74, Penrod's incorporated Woves Inc. The following year. Woves menu had fresh, never frozen burgers, fresh cut fries. Fries were awesome. So were the shakes, dude. Hand-battered onion rings and a passion fruit-based beverage called Woves Juice. Woves would expand to more than 15 states, but eventually would file for bankruptcy in late 81. In an interview with the New York Times, Penrod explained the chain's failure. We got ourselves in a hole, and we couldn't get out of it. And I got to tell you something. I loved Woves, man. I used to go to the one on US 1 and 32nd, right by the Boys and Girls Club. When my dad used to pick me up at the boys, no, it was just a boys club then. Now it's called Boys and Girls Club. I'm kind of programmed. In those days, it was just a boys club. And so my dad, when he would pick me up, we would stop at Woves right across the street. It's where the McDonald's is right now on 32nd and US 1. That used to be a Woves instead of a McDonald's. And man, I love that Woves. There was another one in Hialeah that I would go to. I believe it was off of 16th, and it was where the Godfather's Pizza was, behind the Westland Mall on 16th. If I'm correct, that's where the Woves was at. Somebody help me out with that one. But I love Woves, man. I mean, I ate at some other Woves locations. I remember being around, but those two were like the ones that I went to the most because one was close to my mom's house and the other one was close to my dad's house. So I would alternate between the two when I was at either home since my parents were divorced. GP Trap says Loves was in Davie also on Davie Road. There you go. When I read that story, I was interested to see what kind of burger places we're going to talk about. And they talked about a lot of classic places that I don't know about because I was obviously way too young or not even born at that time. But Woves was one that I experienced a lot and loved big time. It's one of those where I regret that others did not get to experience Woves because I thought it was the kind of burger place that should last forever. You know, just like some of these other ones that are around forever, I think Woves should have been one of those because it was absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. It's kind of like Kenny Rogers Roasters. That's like one of those places that I miss. I really loved Kenny Rogers. I thought they did a really good job. It's the wood that makes it good, baby. There's just some of those places from, classic South Florida that there are just a couple of those places that you just miss because it was good. They actually did a really good job. And Woves was definitely one of them. Speaking of Godfather's Pizza, really enjoyed the hell out of Godfather's Pizza. GP Trap says Wilt Chamberlain's was in Boca. I remember Wilt Chamberlain's and people talking about it, never experienced it, but I remember people talking about Wilt Chamberlain's. I don't know if it was any good. I don't know if their food was any good. My mom talks about Namitz. I might have gone there once, very early 70s, says Ragin. Obviously, I was a child when that thing was out. I never experienced it. I wouldn't know anything about. The only one that I experienced out of all the ones that they mentioned was Woves. That's the only one. That's it. Ray says, damn it, I'm hungry now. I know, right? I was hungry this morning when I read that story about Woves. I was like, oh, what I would give for a Woves burger right now. A Woves burger and a shake and fries. And they had real fries because you see the potatoes on it and everything. They were a good place. I'm telling you, it's one of those where when it closes, you're like, are you kidding me, dude? You guys actually did the right thing. You were good. I don't know what hole they got in themselves into. I don't know what they ended up doing that they couldn't get out of it. But damn, Woves I miss in a big time way. Herman Cueva says, I'm a foodie guy. Well, Herman, I'll tell you, you would have loved Woves. Guaranteed. I think everybody would love Woves. If you had never tried it, you would have been a big fan of that place. Give me a Tony Roma's rib sampler. Yum. I remember Royal Castle back in the day. The Royal Castle I went to was on 8th Street and 37th Avenue. And it was open when I was a child. I mean, like very early child. So yeah, I remember that. And then obviously there were a couple of other Royal Castles that I would visit. I think there was one in downtown Miami also, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure about that. Where else did I run into a Royal Castle? And then obviously there's still the Wayne Arnold's, right? Isn't Wayne Arnold still that Royal Castle that's on 27th Avenue and is it 103rd? Something like that? Help me out there. Is it 103rd or is it 79th? It might be 79th actually in 27th Avenue. Not exactly sure. Ed Marti. Ed, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. Big O, I usually can't listen live, but catch up after work with the podcast. Keep up the great work. We appreciate it. Ed, thank you very much, my man. I appreciate you taking the time to join us and dropping a little love on the super chat. That is extremely nice of you, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And Akaris 1 and Ray are both telling me that it's on 79th Street. So that's really the last place where you can get a Royal Castle is on 79th Street. I love Royal Castle. I'm with you there. There were several Royal Castles that I would run into back in the day when I was a child. Because it wasn't really around by the time I got to, 10, 12 years old. I think all the Royal Castles were gone by then. Maybe there was one or two around that I don't remember, but they were gone when I was in my ute as a single ute. Yeah, I remember that. All right, let's see what else do we have going on here on the program that I want to talk about. Zaven Collins was a guy that we could have had, by the way, as a draft pick. I don't know if some of you remember when we were talking about Zaven Collins. Zaven Collins got in a little bit of trouble, a little reckless driving for Zaven Collins. My man was driving, I think it was 70. Here's what it says. Zaven Collins was allegedly doing 76 in a 35, according to Scottsdale PD, which also released Zaven's mugshot. Officials say Collins was stopped in a Mercedes around 10:04 a.m. on Sunday. A traffic stop was conducted, and Mr. Collins was placed under arrest for the violations. And so you go that fast in a 35 and you get arrested. It wasn't DUI or anything like that. Cops say he was stopped. He was speeding and driving dangerously. We're working on further details regarding the incident, but a jail official tells us Collins was booked Sunday night and released a short time later. They reached out to his reps for comment, but so far no word yet. I mean, listen, man, we're all young. We all do dumb things, and this isn't really a big deal. You don't want to see anybody driving crazy because obviously you could hurt yourself and somebody else, but it could be a lot worse what he could have been, entangled in than that. But you think about it. If Miami drafts him, then we add one more bad driver to South Florida. And we've got enough bad drivers here in South Florida that, we just don't need another bad driver in South Florida. Zaven Collins, I like you as a player, but now I know your driving skills aren't that good. Yeah, I'm kind of glad you didn't get drafted by the Dolphins because we got enough people we got to dodge out on the damn street. Yeah, he was heavy on the pedal. Yep, and wasn't drunk, which was the amazing part for Zaven Collins. Because you would figure something like that, okay, he's inebriated and he's doing something stupid, so there you go. That's why he ends up getting arrested. That wasn't the case. Now, there's a gambler that has a premonition. He has a feeling. He has a gut feeling. He has whatever you want to use, but you know the term I'm thinking about, right? So he bet a boatload of money on the Browns to fail this year. Okay, now the Browns won 11 games last year. Okay? So Stefanski was obviously kicking some ass at 11-5. So the Browns seem like a team that should be a playoff contender in 2021. But there is one man who is now hoping for a huge collapse. A gambler at FanDuel is betting on the Browns to finish the 2021 season with the worst record in the NFL. The bettor dropped $700 on this prop at 250-1, which means the Browns, if the Browns do finish the season with the NFL's worst record, then he will take home $175,000. That's pretty good. It's pretty good money. Now, I don't know. Look, I get it. And this is kind of like what I've told some of you Dolphins out there that stop worrying about the past. This is not the past anymore. The Browns, they're not going to be the worst team in the league. I just can't see that. And this is a guy that is kind of banking on the past. I actually think the Browns are going to be a pretty good team again this year. And I think they got a shot at making it again to the playoffs. Am I telling you that they are a Super Bowl team? No, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. But I think the Browns have a shot at getting to the playoffs again. I kind of think that $700 is kind of a stupid bet. You're almost better off putting it on Shiba, okay, the crypto coin, because that 700,000 actually will turn into a lot. That $700 will turn into a lot more than 175,000 if you hit on it. If it goes to a few pennies or a dollar or whatever, if it goes to a dollar, you're making millions. But anyway, I'm just saying, I'd rather take that gamble than this gamble. Okay, there's a good chance I'm going to lose out on Shiba, but I think it's money in the bank for them, not for you, that you're going to lose on that Browns bet. I just can't see the Browns being the worst team in the NFL. There's no way that happens. I just no way. All right, the other thing that I wanted to talk about here on the show, by the way. Okay, okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk about on the show that I forgot to get to, Tom Brady had some interesting comments. When he was a free agent, apparently this will play out on Thursday. I think it's at 9:30. It's that show where they're around the barber shop. It's called The Shop, actually. So Tom Brady took a swipe at an unnamed quarterback this week while discussing his experience during free agency. And so naturally, everybody wants to know whom he was referring to. Scott Zolak may have some inside information. In a promo clip for the latest HBO's The Shop, Brady said to himself, "You're sticking with that mother effer?" When one team opted to remain with their current quarterback over him last summer. The two most popular theories were that Brady was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo or Ryan Tannehill. Zolak, a former New England Patriots quarterback who hosts the show at 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston, weighed in on the mystery via Twitter. He says Brady was talking about Tannehill and the Titans. Mark Bertrand was, or Tannehill, and Scott Zolak said, bingo. It's possible Zolak was just sharing his opinion, but he knows Brady on a personal level. He was around the Patriots throughout Brady's 2 decades with the team, and the two seemingly have a close relationship. There was at least one other team with a mediocre quarterback that chose not to pursue Brady, but we're taking Scott Zolak's word for it. Apparently, Brady doesn't think highly of Tannehill, despite the Titans quarterback recent success. Yeah, because he sees what I see and some of us see, that when it's all scripted perfectly and the running back's dominating, Tannehill can be a serviceable, what's that called? Game manager. He can get the ball to the playmakers and let them make plays. But like you've watched the last 2 years, when they get to the playoffs and they eventually shut down Derrick Henry, then when you need you turn to the quarterback to elevate you. Too bad. He can't elevate you. So Brady told the Titans, "You're sticking with that mother effer." Oh, I love that. You're sticking with that mother effer. That is fantastic, dude. I saw that story and I laughed my ass off. And I hope the Dolphins play Tannehill in the playoffs. Okay? Because I know that Coach Flo will shut Henry down and the secondary will then do their thing when it's all said and done. You're sticking with that mother effer. Oh, that, my friends, is a story right there. Now I don't watch that show, The Shop, all the time. I got to run into it. Now I want to watch the show on Thursday. just because of that clip. Mr. NSB 108 says he will never give that man his respect. Tannehill is a better quarterback. Ventura right now than the Dolphins. Just had a bad thing. Huh? I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but that's fine. Listen, if you want to give him respect, that's up to you, my brother. I see what I see. And I see a guy in the playoffs that completely folds the tent once they can't run the ball. I mean, that's kind of who he is. A couple of years ago when they won a couple playoff games, they were winning. He was throwing for 70 yards. But that's fine. I mean, we can all see it however we want to see it. Troy Ortiz says, take away Henry and Tanny's a bum. I wouldn't call Tanny a bum. I think he's done a nice job in developing into at least a game manager on his best days. But I would definitely not want him as my franchise quarterback. That's for sure. I want nothing to do with Ryan Tannehill at all. I know if you have Ryan Tannehill, you don't have a guy that can really elevate a team. Can you win with him? Sure. But everything has to be working around him and be dominant. But if you are counting on him to elevate you, that's what I don't see. And every time I ask somebody that, they can't answer it because it doesn't exist. He doesn't lift teams. He doesn't make people around him better. Oh, I just looked it up, and Tanny does have the third best record head-to-head against Brady, which is still a losing record. I think the better discussion is about whose wife is hotter. You know, they're both skinny, so, I mean, they're both beautiful. I'm not the guy to ask because, you know, us Latin dudes, you know, I can speak for the Latins and the brothers in general. I can stereotype us. Can't stereotype any type of other man, but I'm going to stereotype us Latins and the brothers, okay? We normally like curves with our women, okay? Not that you wouldn't go out with either one because they're both beautiful girls. There's no doubt about it. They're both beautiful women, but too skinny for my liking, personally. I got to have curves, bro. I got to have Selma Hayek curves. You know, I got my women got to look like a guitar. You know, it's got to be like that for me. You know what I mean? Personally, I'm put it this way. I'm more attracted to the woman that has a great body, but maybe she's not beautiful. Maybe she's just decent looking. Instead of the girl that's absolutely beautiful, but she's a pole. It's just not my style. So I'm not the guy to ask about Lauren or Giselle Bündchen. Both beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Both gorgeous. Just muy flaca. Muy flaca for me. That's all. You know? Hallie's curves got to be on. Exactly. Hallie's got curves. You know, yeah, exactly. Now she doesn't have monster curves, but she's got curves. I gotta have curves, man. I gotta have dangerous curves. Those are my favorite. Ian from Brooklyn says, booty, booty, booty. Exactly. Dougie Fresh says, I'm Mexican and like the backside of a lady to look like two hams in a Walmart bag. Just saying between those two. That's right. Yep. My wife is Brazilian, so I'll stay Brazilian. Those are curves. Those are curves. Kelvin Smith says 100%, bro. Man of 1,005 holes goes, thick is better. Yep. I got to have that thickness, man. I got to have that thickness. But they're both beautiful. I am not taking anything away from Lauren Tannehill, right? I think it is. It's Lauren, right? She's gorgeous. No doubt. And so is Giselle Bündchen. Gorgeous. Gorgeous women. Just a little too flaca for me. Cuban in NC says, all parts of a woman are beautiful, but the booty is my favorite. Yep, got to have junk in the trunk, man. That's just the way it goes. Tannehill is in the mold of Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer. Give him a great D in a running game, and he can win it all as a game manager. Okay. I actually think Brad Johnson's a better quarterback than Ryan, because I've watched Brad Johnson play well in Minnesota and in Washington, and he didn't have those dominant features. He had it in Tampa. He had a defense like he never had in Washington or in Minnesota, and that's why he ended up winning, because, I mean, those are generational defenses. What the Bucs had in those days, those are generational defenses. Those are things that rarely come around, and when you have one, you got to take advantage of it. I'm with you there. Ricky Perez says, junk in the trunk is a must. It's just the way it goes, man. You gotta have that yunk in the trunk. All right. Remember, you can reach out to us on the YouTube channel, a little super chat, and on Twitter at Big O Show. Please smash the like button. That is extremely important, so we get the algorithm going, so we share the show with other folks out there. And the other thing you can do is obviously grab that link, send it to a friend of yours on text, post it on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, all that good stuff. We really appreciate those of you sharing it there. Steve on Twitter is saying, I enjoy the shows. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Steve, for supporting us and retweeting. Thank you, sir. That is very, very kind of you. Carl Nassib, the defensive end for the Raiders. You know, we talked about how we have history going on right now with Becky Hammon and Don Staley as finalists for the coaching job for the Portland Trailblazers. Well, now Carl Nassib, the defensive end for the Raiders, has come out as gay. Now, I got to tell you, there's a couple of different emotions I have with this. One pisses me off, okay? And not that Carl Nassib is gay or any of that. It pisses me off that he has to address his sexuality. Because in the end, what do I give a crap? Let me rephrase it. Why do I give a shit? If you're straight, if you're gay, if you're bi. Dude, can you get sex? Great. That's all we need, Carl. Don't get arrested. Don't do stupid things. Don't abuse women. Don't abuse people. Don't abuse kids. Don't abuse dogs. We're good, man. That's it. We're good. You do that, and we're absolutely good, Carl. Just be a decent human being and be a great football player. That's all we want. That's what you want from X. That's what you want from Tua. That's what you want from Bam. That's what you want from any player. Be a decent human being and do your job. That's it. What your sexual orientation is, who cares, dude? Who cares? I'm not going to hold it against you because you're gay. I'm going to hold it against you because you didn't get enough sacks this year and they're paying you this kind of money. You didn't catch enough balls. You did not score enough touchdowns. You did not block well. That's why. Now, I will say this, which, again, this kind of goes back to what's going on with the ladies and the Portland Trailblazers job. People aren't freaking out that two women are finalists. They're not insulted. They're not making a joke of it, which is what would happen 10, 20 years ago. This would have been an uproar like it was with Michael Sam. And it hasn't been. You know, a lot of people have come out and have been very favorable of it and been supportive of it. And, hey, live your life, proud of you, all those kind of things. It's sad that someone that is gay has to announce it to people, because you and I don't say, hey, I'm straight. Hey, I like women. Hey, I like just men. Hey, I like women and men. Hey, none of us have to make those declarations. Women don't come out and say, oh, I like guys. No, but they have to come out and say, I'm gay. That's just, it doesn't make sense. None of us should care. Can you be a good lawyer? Can you pick up the trash? Can you teach kids? Can you play football? Can you play basketball? Can you be a great I don't know, what's those people work with stocks or whatever, a stock advice or a financial advisor or whatever? Who cares what your sexuality is? And the good thing is that we're not creating all these controversies now like we had in the past. Now, is Carl going to have to answer some questions that people will approach him with? Yes. But we are getting, and this is what's happening. I've talked about this over the last couple of years, where I give millennials, and is it Generation Z, right? Is the younger version, right? Is the next version after millennials, if I'm correct? Where I give them credit is if you watch them, they are way more accepting of each other. Way more accepting. Whatever they are. Okay? Gay, straight, bi, doesn't matter. If they have some kind of an illness, if they have some kind of a learning deficit, if they have emotional issues, they are way more accommodating than we ever were. Okay? Because all we did was ridicule each other and make fun of each other and bust each other's balls about whatever it is that we were suffering from. I mean, depression? Are you kidding me? 20, 30, 40 years ago, you tell somebody you're depressed and they're like, well, dude, go have a drink and shut the hell up and leave me alone. You know, nowadays you tell somebody, oh, I'm depressed. You pause and you say, whoa, what's going on? Hey, anything I can help you with? What? Because now we're a little bit more alert on this. And we've all been, I think a lot of us have been affected one way or another with a friend, a family member that has dealt with depression. So we've kind of had firsthand experience on how it affects people. But 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, people would laugh at you for that kind of stuff. Oh, get the hell out of here. Man up, dude. Now you watch these kids and you watch these younger adults, and they are way more accepting of each other than any of the older generations were. So I think, and some of those younger people are part of the media now, where they weren't 10 years ago and 20 and 40 years ago. So there was a different level of thinking. And that's the cool part about it, that when you're watching Nassib come out, which again, it's so ridiculous that he has to come out. I mean, it's embarrassing that we make the gay community have to kind of, I don't know, make a declaration of acceptance or something. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just ridiculous that we have to do this. But I do see some progress where it has not become the circus it was with Michael Sam and other people that attempted to do this, or even mentioned it after they were done with their playing days. Whereas obviously Carl is in the middle of his career. You know what I'm saying? So this will be really interesting, and maybe this is the guy that not just breaks the ice. Well, he's not technically breaking the ice, but breaks the ice in the sense of it's in football. It's the most machismo sport that there is out there. It's just loaded with testosterone. But now if the Raider players accept him, if the fan base is accepting him, if the media is behaving properly, all of those kind of things, I think this will open up the door for the kid that's in high school. Because those are the people we have to worry about more than anything. It's younger people having to deal with certain demons. And they have to deal with depression, and they have to deal with addictions, and they have to deal with homosexuality, and And they shouldn't have to deal with it because there's nothing wrong with it. Okay? With depression, yes, we need to get you help. You shouldn't live isolated. You shouldn't be afraid to talk to somebody. Just like if you're gay, you shouldn't be afraid to be proud of it. And we should not be the people that are keeping you in that closet and keeping you in a life that nobody deserves, because that means you're hiding. And we've all experienced it, right? You go out with a girl or a boy that your parents don't like, so you're doing it behind the scenes, and you kind of gotta, everybody's been involved at one point or another with maybe a relationship that they shouldn't be in. Or no, I'm sorry, they don't want you in. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be in it, because maybe, it's a good person. They're just viewed the wrong way. I mean, we've all experienced in one way or another being ostracized and for any little thing. When we're kids and all that, we do something wrong, everybody's making fun of us and all that, and we're the brunt of the jokes, and we kind of got to take the heat of it. So it's nice to see that it's not so much a circus as it was with Michael Sam. And I'm hoping that this is a sign of things to come, so others can feel comfortable coming out. So the girl that is, gay, she can come out in high school or in college, and she will not be ridiculed, and she'll not be looked at differently, and she could just live her life, which is kind of what we all want. You know what I mean? So kudos to Mr. Nassib, and kudos to a lot of people who are, I think, handling it in a much more mature fashion. And it looks like the society is handling it with a more mature attitude. I'm not saying perfect, because we're going to have our idiots out there. There's no doubt about it. But it would have been way worse 10 and 20 and 30 years ago. So I'm glad that Mr. Nassib has a much better environment to come out and speak his truth and live his truth openly. Because the rest of us that are heterosexual, we get to live our lives and express ourselves openly. Meanwhile, if you're gay, you're kind of put in a corner, and you can express yourself and all those kind of things. And that's not the kind of life that you want anybody to live. So kudos to Mr. Nassib on that one. Troy says, how many years before a superstar athlete comes out as gay? I think it happens very soon. I think it happens within the next 5 years. Guaranteed. I truly believe that, because our lives have changed. The way we view things as a society, like I told you, like with depression, I think a lot of us take it way more seriously than we did just 10 years ago. Forget about 20, 30, and 40 years ago. So I think we're becoming more and more accepting of how individuals are different. And listen, we have our hate, we have our biases, we have those people. I still think they're the minority nowadays. Now, they're a loud minority. There's no doubt. But usually when you complain, it's loud. You know what I mean? Compliments and those kind of things, that never comes off as loud. Complaints come off as loud. So it's a different deal. It really is. So I think that because people are more accepting, I think a superstar will come out in the next 5 years. Because that we've got several superstars that are not straight. They're either gay or they're bi or whatever terms they have nowadays. Because I think gay and bi is already out, right? I think you can't even say that, right? But I'm old, so I don't know. But what's those? I forgot those different titles that they have nowadays. So whatever it is, I just think we're more accepting now than ever. I really believe that. No matter how much hate you see out there, which there is plenty, I still truly believe they are the minority. Okay? That's why as a country we voted a minority in as president. That's why as a country we voted in a minority as vice president. That's why as a country, we are voting gay mayors and gay councilmen and and women mayors and women governors and all that. We've changed. I think most of us are willing to look at human beings for what they are. Period. You know what I'm saying? Now, yeah, there's a certain group of people that they don't want a woman in place, or they don't want a Hispanic or a black or an Asian or yeah, dude, or gay or whatever. We got those people. But they're the minority. They're the dying breed. Okay? They're just loud. But most of us, I think, are more accepting of people nowadays. Let's see. Oh, don't give an S who someone sleeps. I'm with you, man. I don't care who you sleep with. As long as you're not hurting kids, as long as you're not hurting human beings, and as long as you're not hurting animals, you're good with me. I don't care who you sleep with. Can you do the job? Whatever it is. Can you do the radio show? Can you run the football? Can you run the team? Can you run the corporation? Right? Can you fix cars? Can you do the damn job, whatever the job is? Yes? Great. Let's go. All right? I'm not hanging out in the bedroom with you. I don't need you for that. I need you to do this job. And you can do a great job, then there you go. Let's go. Let's rock. I'm with you 100%. Let's see. Man of 1,005 votes. Thank you, Big O. As long as you're a good person doing your job, that's all that matters. There you go. Alex Toledo says, podcast is back. I love this format. Good to see this show back. Thank you, Alex. I've gotten that a lot. A lot of you love this format. Big O, love the color in your YouTube channel. Aqua, baby. You know how we roll. There's only one way to roll. You got to roll with the Aqua. Big O going for 3 hours. There's NorCal. Why am I? Oh, yeah, this is I've completed hour number 2. Wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that. I do want to mention something that I have not been able to talk about, and the upcoming Dolphins season. Is there any part of you out there that's a little bitter about the upcoming season? And stay with me on this, okay? Because for me, there's a little part that I'm a little pissed off about, a little bitter, a little frustrated. Maybe I'm not using the right adjective to describe it, but I'm so excited about the Dolphins season. I'm so excited about Tua. I'm extremely excited about the talent on this team and watching it develop. I truly believe that they're going to be a playoff team this year. I am convinced that they're going to be a playoff team this year. I love what I've seen from Flo for 2 years now. Obviously, Chris Greer has done an exceptional job drafting and trading and finding, obviously, Brian Flores. So for me, there's so much of the foundation that's great. I'm just wondering, does it piss you off and frustrate you a little bit that you got to start the damn season with a controversy? Because outside of the X thing, this would be a clean start to everything. It would be fantastic. Be talking about all the things that I just talked about. And we're excited to see Jalen Waddle. And we're excited to see Jaelan Phillips. And how much can Hunter Long add? Because if he can, then all of a sudden Tua has 2 tight ends to attack defenses. I mean, I can go on and on. I want to see Andrew Van Ginkel in his 3rd year. See how much the kid's grown from last year to this year. Somebody asked earlier about Vince Beagle. Love to see Vince Beagle because he really added something to the pass rush, and he was a terrific complimentary pass rusher when it's all said and done. Somebody brought up Wilkins. Looking forward to watching him take another step forward. I could just go on and on and on. Jerome Baker got his contract. He's had a terrific 2 years, getting better and better from tackling to pressuring quarterbacks, all of that. I'm excited to watch Jerome Baker take that next step. I can just continue to talk about all the things that I freaking love about this upcoming season. But then I come back to, okay, so one of your three best players is constantly a problem, whether it's his knee that is wearing out, whether it's a domestic issue, or now a holdout. And damn it, man. Now, I love that this team drafted Noah last year, almost anticipating maybe rough waters ahead for X and or an injury, and let's be ready. I love that they drafted Hunter Long, because if you aren't going to keep Gesicki next year, okay, you don't want to let go of Gesicki, then draft somebody, and then he has to live his rookie year under, and then so you're 2 years away from being an effective at that position because you lost your starter and you brought in a rookie to replace him. Now, if you do lose your starter next year, the guy that replaces him is no longer a rookie. He'll be a second-year player, so he'll be more groomed and ready to go. I love all of these things that the Dolphins are doing. There's a lot of foresight to what they're doing because they're anticipating that this could be an issue, and if it is, we're not prepared for when we lose this person. Now we are. So I love the intelligence behind all of this too. I mean, there's so many layers to why I'm excited about the Dolphin season, and then I come back to the X thing. Even as a talk show host, I can't wait to talk about the Dolphins. I can't wait to rub Tua in the face of all these people that did not believe in the kid, okay? Because I feel in my heart that he's going to prove me right, and he's going to play at a high level, and those that doubted him are going to be eating crow. There's all these kind of things that I'm extremely excited about. But then I come back to the X thing, and I know that this is coming, and I can't stand the fact that we have to deal with this when everything else, in my eyes, is incredibly positive. That I don't know how many of you feel that way, but for me, that is the one frustration I have about this upcoming season. It's like, damn, dude, do they really have to deal with one of their best players holding out, and because he wants money after already being given money 2 years ago? That part of the 2021 season effing pisses me off. Okay? It really does. Lisa says, I'm so sick of people telling me the Finns made a mistake not picking Herbert. Tua's going to ball out this year. Oh, for sure. I'm not worried about that. I will be able to then look at him and say, I told you so. You know, you downplayed it. You didn't believe in the kid, and now you look like an idiot. So yeah, I'm with you all the way, Lisa. Troy says, to be honest, I'll be bummed if we have to trade X, since that will affect how our D is run. Yeah, unless Noah becomes a shutdown guy. If Noah becomes a shutdown guy, then you don't miss much. Okay? I mean, just call it like we see it. As talented as X is, the fact that he lacks humility, which gives him the idea that he can demand whatever he wants without consequence. To take the defense to another level depends upon the improvement of Wilkins and Van Ginkel. And your secondary too, Matt. They've got to play, and the safety. Javon Hollins needs to make a quick transition. And I like him too. I'm a big fan of Javon Holland. NorCal says, we need to disable all the clocks in the Big O studio. I bet he'd stay on the air all day. Thanks for the great show. It makes my day go faster. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you. Oh, didn't Olivia Munn insinuate Aaron Rodgers likes guys? Well, Troy, the way she phrased it, if you want me to go into that discussion. She apparently every time they had sex, she was she was doggy style. And so they never made real eye contact every time they had sex. Okay? And apparently she says she can't keep men out of her flower garden. And apparently he never liked to visit the flower garden. So that's why she questioned whether he was straight or gay. Well, she kind of didn't question it. She kind of was telling the interviewer basically that he's gay, which again, really, who cares? But, it is what it is. So, yeah, I do remember specifically what Olivia Munn was talking about. I do remember that. Okay? So, yeah. You don't visit the flower garden. Gotta visit the flower garden. I'm just saying. It's a place that you want to visit. Just Troy says, Lisa, as of today, it was a mistake not taking Herbert. Tua being good is no guarantee. Yeah, but the problem is you don't the final word isn't for one season. One got to start, the other one didn't. One had the offense for him and the weapons, the other one didn't. So now there's an even level playing field. Now we'll see what happens. Okay? That's the way I would look at it. But yeah, I there's a little bit of that pisses me off about the Dolphin season, that you have to deal with that crap. Yeah, that part sucks. All right, it is time to wrap it up here on the show. 2 hours went by pretty quickly. A lot faster than I expected. Ragin says, great, another skeptic. It's all right, bro. There's plenty of skeptics. It's all right. Don't worry about it, Ragin. Don't worry about it. Tua will be fine, and he'll be kicking ass soon, and people will forget about all this crap, and we'll laugh about it. That's all. No big deal. Anyway, I do want to thank all of you out there, as always, for tuning into the show and supporting us in a big-time way. We appreciate all of you out there. Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. Thank you all out there. Remember to hit the like button before you get out. We need to smash that like button and share. We will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. R.I.P. Prince T.Y. says, definitely want to visit the flower garden, even if you're just there for dinner. Nothing wrong with flowers. Y'all be good out there.
This is the Big O Show.